Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Cody Coda. I've got a special guest today, Linda Ryburn with Selling OKC. How are you?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Linda, so how'd you get into the business?
Well, it's a little bit of a story. I worked retail and going through a divorce back in 1999, actually. And one day I left work for lunch and I was trying to figure out, I've been really praying about a career direction that would be more flexible because I was going through a divorce and I had a young child still at home. So all the way home from the store, I was praying about it, and the only word that ever came in my mind was realtor. But I knew I absolutely could not go into real estate, and I even said it out loud because it was only commission, and that could not be a sustainable income. So all the while I was driving home, the during lunch while I was at home, that's all I could think of was real estate. And then also all the wet drive back. So when I parked in the parking lot, I just said out loud to God, I said, Lord, if that's what you want me to go to, if that's what you want me to be, then you're just going to have to give me a sign. I've got to have a sign because I just can't do this. And so I walked into the store. I walked up to my counter. My manager came up to me and said, and we had not spoken about anything like this in any way at all. And she said, Oh, Linda, I forgot to tell you, my husband just enrolled in real estate school. And I was thinking this would be the best job for you. And I thought, okay. And I enrolled in real estate school.
That's quite a story. I actually have a strong retail background myself, and I've heard it said that if you can do retail, you can do just about anything. So that's awesome. So do you feel like you had any skill sets or anything from that retail background that kind of helped propel you with your real estate career?
Absolutely, because you learn how to, you know, talk to people, how to develop confidence with people, how to sell a product. And of course, that's what we're doing is selling a product, real estate. But you also, how to talk to people about, objections they have, how to just kind of to manage those objections. So it's a great forerunner for real estate.
That's great. And so, how long have you been in business total now? How many years did you say?
21 years.
Wow, that is a lot of experience to share. I'm excited to learn here from you. So, how many agents or offices do you lead? That way, the viewers can kind of get an understanding of what your perspective's like.
Well, I just launched this in January of 2020. So I just launched Selling OKC right before the pandemic. But, and we're small in growth. It's just one office and 5 agents.
That's a great name, and it's a great way to get started. So, how did you transition, Linda, from an agent to a broker? I know a lot of our viewers, would love to kind of understand, like, how does one make that transition?
Well, I'm not a broker yet. I'm an owner, but that is something I hired a broker, but that is something that's in my future to do. But I've been at 3 different big brand companies in the last 21 years. And seeing the changes in our industry over the years, I just did not feel that these big brands were relevant and certainly wasn't agent centric anymore. And I think just something had to change. And so that's, to me, it was just an easy transition.
I love that. Early struggles, early wins for you from kind of you came in kind of as an agent and then stepping into more of like an ownership leadership role. What was that like for you, and what skill sets did you need to skill up to learn? Where did you go to learn certain skills if you needed to?
Well, anything that you launch, that you create, you're going to have struggles. So in any organization, and I also have a nonprofit that I launched a few years ago. And so I was not I was definitely used to struggles and in working through those struggles. But I also feel like that I do have an years ago, early teaching background. And so that probably helped me set up for being a team leader, which is what my role is with my company with Selling OKC. So I am the trainer and the team leader. But really the biggest win, and this just happened recently, and this just says it all. And so a couple of weeks ago, I was scheduled to speak in front of a fairly large group. And I had forgotten to prepare an introduction about me for the facilitator. So before she was about to call me up to speak, and I was sitting in the front row, she said, since Linda forgot to send me the intro on about her, I just went online to find out about her. Well, what she read from the front of that room and what she found online was amazing. So she said, first she said, this says it all. And she said that she began to quote all the things that my agents had said about me over social media and, online. And they said how I pray with them and for them, and how uh, and how my training was the best that they'd ever had. They even said they admired my witness as a Christian, and one of them said that I was the best boss they had ever had. But hearing those words there in, from that woman, from in right before I was to speak, and everybody in back of me hearing those words, I'd heard those words before and they blessed me, but this time they humbled me. And I thought, this is exactly where I am supposed to be. This does say it all. It says this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
That's powerful. That's awesome. Wish you could have been there. The management style or philosophy, how would you describe yours?
Well, my God given gifts are encouragement and teaching. So we applaud, and this is something that we just do across the board here in Selling OKC. We applaud within our agents, whether it's all their wins, whether it's a business win or it's a personal win. And we encourage small wins as well as a company, and we celebrate all of them. They're small wins, they're big wins, everything. We just are very transparent. We have a Slack channel that we have things like like our channels on our Slack channel are slays, learning, social, new biz, culture. So we communicate that every day, all day on those channels. And we're always training. We are always training. I do a lot of training right over the Slack channel, and we have small little contests, and they win small things. It's just fun, and it's awesome. But that's how we communicate. And so it's just a fun environment, but it's always learning and it's always celebrating.
I love that. I mean, real estate, I mean, let's be honest, it can be tough. And the fact that you guys create that environment of encouragement, that oasis, if you will, for your agents can, really get lifted and encouraged. That's great. And then I love the fact that you understand and recognize that training is something that you do. It's not something that you've done, and you're continuing with that. That's awesome, Linda. So did you decide to go the franchise route? Why or why not? What's your take on that?
You know, OKC, Oklahoma City, supports locally owned businesses. So, and I bleed OKC. And so I just think that locally owned businesses are important and are really accepted across all industries here in Oklahoma City, I never would have even considered a franchise.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So in your opinion, what do you think it takes to be a successful owner of a brokerage or maybe even a successful broker? Whatever you'd like to speak to there.
I just think that it's so important to be a support to your agents, and everybody's success in life is based on what type of support system and the strength they have in a support system. Whether they're, I have a nonprofit that we serve the TBI community, so it's their success and their recovery is based highly on the support system they have. And that is across any industry. And so I also believe that you should, as a broker or as a team leader, you want to teach your agents how to handle their own problems, but also know as a leader when it's time to step in and say, I know you've been really working hard on this, and I know that you have struggled with this, but it's my turn now. I'm going to step in. I'm going to call that agent's broker or whatever the situation is.
I love that. That's a great way to answer that. I firmly believe that as well. So what would you say, Linda, is kind of your favorite aspects, being, an owner and being the position you're in, and what are some maybe kind of the least favorite aspects that you wish didn't come with that job description?
Well, I hire out those people to do the things that I don't like to do because I only work within my wheelhouse. So I have an assistant that handles my own business and all those things, a lot of my admin stuff. I have a creative director that does my marketing, our social media, and I hire this company called Broker League to manage and handle my agents and files. They're all part of our team.
That's like one of the best responses ever. You understand what you're good at, and you don't really want to mess with the things. That's how we operate as well. So I love that. What would you say is like your favorite piece of technology or tool that you would not want to be caught, without it running your business?
Definitely social media, because we have a really strong Instagram and Facebook presence. And I mean, we just get so much out of that. We just get a lot of work out of that, a lot of business out of that. I know that over the years, it has increased, social media has really increased my personal book of business. So definitely that. And the second would be Slack. I think it is the best way to communicate, and it's off the social media grid, so you have this private little communication with your agents and all that, and they can talk amongst themselves. They even solve each other's problems. And just today, one of my agents had a problem. She just put it out there on our Slack channel, and one of the other agents just stepped right in. And I know that he was really, really busy today, but he stepped on right in. And I know you do the same thing with Aristan. I mean, I know that you guys do the same thing, but I think it's just so important. And they answer each other's questions, and then I can just sit back and I can monitor and watch it, and then put my input. So I think it's great.
That's great. And you talked a little bit about this, about your support system, but maybe kind of diving into a little bit more of what did it look like when you kind of launched your business? Now, I know some folks kind of scale up to certain levels. You may have kind of had that kind of out the gate, but maybe speak to a little bit of what your support system was when you started and kind of where it's at today. And if you don't mind, maybe even you mentioned some of your social media, maybe here at the, you kind of tell us who's handling that. Cause I get a lot of compliments, all the time for, hey, who's doing selling OKC's, social and their marketing? Cause it's just phenomenal. So go ahead.
Well, I knew that when I launched Selling OKC, first of all, I needed to hire an assistant. So I hired an assistant, and she actually happens to be my daughter-in-law, but she just was the best person for the job. And so she really just handles all of my uh, behind the scenes admin work. But then I hired DNA PR out of Dallas, and it's a creative directing or marketing company. And again, it's my son, Denver Tracy, but he's just absolutely just so talented in that arena that I knew that there was just no one else I would hire. So he actually took over. He's the one that even created the name Selling OKC. He created the logo, and then of course launches. He created the Slack channel and all the channels on that, and then all of our social media and all of the input that we have on Instagram that we do daily. So from the start of inception of Selling OKC to today, that has grown our company and strengthened our company substantially to have the right people in the right position. Because as an agent, I have hired assistants in the past, and I hired them based on, oh, I like this person. I like this person. And they are absolutely they're good people, but the wrong person for the job or the wrong person for your particular company. And I've done the same thing before with my nonprofit. We bring on a board member and they're a great person, but they're not the great person for that position. So
I've been in that. I've done that before.
I think we all have been. I think everybody that has had a leader that's in a leadership position, it's growing pains, and we've done that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think are the, biggest misconceptions out there, maybe that you like to dispel for folks of, what it's like to, own an office or run a brokerage? What are some of the misconceptions that you want to help people handle right now?
I think that one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can become a broker owner and just sit back and collect money from your agents, because you've got to be engaged with your team. It's a team. And that's the one thing I keep telling my agents, myself, and then as I interview, if you come on to Selling OKC, this is part of a team. We're not, you're not going to go work from home and maybe 6 months later you hear from me. It's not the way it is.
Yeah, engagement is, I totally agree with you. It's so important to have that. Linda, what do you think is your market prediction with what's going on today in the market, and then where do you see it, in the future, and what impact may that have on agents and brokers, you think?
I think that our values here in Oklahoma City are going to continue to improve. I think that we're behind schedule. Oklahoma City is our relocation has doubled since last year. We're growing, and that we have other industries coming in. So I think we're just finally kind of catching up to the values that we should have had before. And I do think that and I tell my agents this, we are having this frenzy, this huge seller market frenzy. But I think as the year goes by, as months go by, we're going to, our inventory is going to increase. So naturally, we're just going to have more buyers. And so we won't have quite as active of a seller market frenzy, but I think that we're going to have a stable market at least for the next few years. And so I really think we're in a good position. I think this is probably one of the best times for Oklahoma City.
That's awesome. What piece of advice would you want to impart on a new agent or just an agent trying to get some wins out there? And then what piece of advice would you want to give out to a broker or an owner out there?
Well, for an agent, I would say that as interview different agencies, find an agency that really embraces teaching and training and a team atmosphere, because if you're new and you just don't have anything going, so you've got to have a good support system behind you. So that would be my first thing. Just don't look at big brands. I mean, that necessarily does not mean you're going to have a great support system. So look, just really interview lots of different companies. And for a broker, I guess my best piece of advice is to just to really just be a leader. I mean, pave the way. I mean, that's what a leader does. A leader, let me kind of segue here a little bit, because I'm going to get into my little Christian hat. I live this life, I'm a believer, and Jesus Christ was on this earth. And what did he do? He paved the way for us to have eternal life. He paved the way. He paved that road so that we could walk down that road and receive eternal life. Okay. And live an abundant life here on earth. Okay. Now that's what any leader does. Jesus was a leader. Well, as a leader, we pave the way to a better quality of life and a better book of business and a more successful business for whoever is following us. So be that leader.
I love that. I love that answer. That's amazing. Totally agree with that. What would this is a fun question. What would you be doing, Linda, if you weren't in real estate?
If I weren't in real estate, I would be an English literature professor at a major university.
Really?
Yes, that's what I would be. That's what I wanted to be. And somehow life changed my direction. But
You're still teaching. You're still have that spirit.
I am.
With how you treat your agents and just how productive they are and just how your company's thriving. So that's awesome. Linda, anything else you wanted to chat or talk about or share, or where can the folks kind of find you if they want to be able to hook up with a great real estate company, or if they're an agent and they want to get some great leadership?
You can just give me a call at 405-476-5319. You can connect with us on Instagram at Selling OK City, or, Linda at sellingokc.life. But, mainly I also want to, let everybody know that on staff, we have this great creative director that will help them market themselves. So we have a lot of support systems in place that will help them. One thing I will say, and I do want to say this, Selling OKC is committed to staying in our lane. We are the lane that takes maybe the $1-2 million a year producing agent to like 10-15 million a year. If you want more than that, which you do, at some point as my agents grow, I may not be the one for them. They may need to go to someone else that is going to really teach them how to have a large team and to be a much larger producing agent. And that's fine. I know who I am, but I know that I can take this $1-2 million agents to successfully to $15 million, so they can go off and do whatever they want to do in this industry that they want to do with whomever they want to do. So that is what I'm not limiting myself but I just know who I am and I know what I can do. And I know what our passion is.
Oh yeah, you guys are, that's great. You guys are clear on who you guys are, what you guys can provide, and that's why you guys are so successful, I think. So that's just one of the many reasons why. So that's awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, awesome. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. You guys run a great company. You guys are great leadership and great folks over there. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much. And thank you for Broker League, because it's been a great support for us.
All right. Thanks, Linda. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.